Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we have what I think is a very cool Damasko watch. This is the DC56 and it's just it's got some really good kind of tech to it, this one, and some very interesting accreditations to its name as well. Overall, this is a very cool Damasko. I like it a lot. Now, as I say, Damasko is quite a young brand, really. They're a German brand, and they haven't been around for, that many years. But yet this watch is actually the watch used, the official timepiece used by the Eurojet test pilots, and has been for over 10 years. And it has to take some extreme strains like -40 plus 55 degrees, G-force of up to 12G. It really is a powerhouse, and this watch has been tested to all those standards. But before we get too far into this review, I've got to say a massive thank you to the team over at First Class Watches of Kenilworth for allowing me to review this piece. Fantastic guys, really friendly staff. Well worth popping in if you're in the Midlands area. If you're a bit further afield, well, don't worry, I'll leave a link in the description below and at the bottom of the page now. All I ask is that you do mention the channel if you contact them. So anyway, let's talk sizes first. It is a nice clean 40mm case size by a thickness which is actually surprising, considering this is a kind of houses an old school chronograph movement of 13.8 millimeters. That is very small, very thin for what it is. A lug to lug size, I've got to remember now what it was. I think it was 48 millimeters, just a fraction over 48, and the strap size on this is 20 millimeters. Now the dial itself, I like it. I like the way that Damasko always put their name over on the side here, the D above Damasko and the day date here. It works really well. I also like the way they do the seconds here with the simple crosshairs. That way you don't have what appear, at first glance, there's only two subdials on this watch. And that kind of keeps the dial a lot more cleaner than if you had a full ringed subdial there. So just for crosshairs is, really, let's face it, that is all you need over there. So that is your constant running seconds there. Now around here we have the printed on hour and minute track. There is luminous watch, and to be fair, it is actually pretty good. I would almost say you could get away with getting rid of the just keeping the 3 and 9 on this even. I just think you could even get rid of that and make it look even cleaner. But to be fair, it's super. It really is a very clean watch. You've got an English date wheel here, though it is also available with a German date wheel. So just, be aware that you can buy either way. Now, being it's a chronograph, let's have a listen. I do like that. It's a nice positive snap. Let's press that again, shall we? Very positive. Now above here we have the minute totalizer for the actual chronograph, so that will read how many minutes it has ran for, and once it gets twice the way around, then it will click on here the hour, so you can actually have a full 12 hours of reading there. So absolutely spot on there. That's a really just a solid kind of movement. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Now as we come, well, actually let's do a reset. So there, and press, boom, straight round, no problem at all, lines up perfectly at the 12 o'clock. Restart it again. Now the sapphire crystal, the crystal is sapphire even, let's put it that way. I believe it's got AR coatings. It does look very clean. It is flat, and that's one of the reasons they also managed to keep the thickness down a little bit. If that was domed, obviously you would have done another ½ mil or millimeter on top of there, but this one is actually flat. Now there's no actual bezel on this watch apart from what's fixed to the body of the watch here. The actual material of the watch, it is steel. I think it's submarine steel. No, I think it's normal steel, but they have ice hardened it. That's better. So this is incredibly hard to scratch. I believe it's around about 1,200 Vickers, which puts it on the same level, I believe, as the Zintegementin on there. So, and it has been bead blasted, so you don't get any kind of reflections coming off there. And as you can see on here, we just have the simple pushers and the crown work here. I'm not sure if you can press the pushers underwater. I'll have to check on that one. But the crown, screw down crown. Now it does, let's stop the chronograph, we'll pull this out. As I pull this out, you can see there's a decent amount of screw thread there. It does have 100 meters of water resistance. Now the crown itself will wobble a little bit. That's because it's got a dust kind of proof into it. So as it presses in, the inner section of the crown compresses, making more of a seal. So if I put that back in now, when in first time, that is always a good sign. Start it again. Now, as we turn this round here, we have a solid case back. Now, I like personally to actually see the movement, but if you were to have a display case back on here, then it would increase the thickness of the watch a little bit, because you need a greater thickness of a sapphire crystal versus the steel. So, but under here, we have the very tried and trusted ETA 7750. Now, lots of people want to make their own chronograph for their own movements and put them in watches, and I understand that. But things like the 77550 have been going now for over 50 years. And you can tell that this is a top grade one, because I put it on the time graph and I think it was gaining 0 seconds a day in its position I had it in, I should point out. So it's a 25 joule movement. It's got about 48 hours of power reserve, and it is just a solid workhorse of a movement. You know, any watchmaker should be able to work on this and have no problems at all. So it really is a good quality movement in there. Now, the strap on this watch is a Hirsch, I believe, a Dimmer. I think I've seen these on the Zinyu 2 as well. It's a great strap, yeah, no problem at all. But if you want to get it on the bracelet, and I have mentioned this before, you're talking adding €700 on the price of the watch to get their actual bracelet. Their bracelet is a work of art. It's incredibly well made. I believe the one for this is full ice hardened as well, so it's equally as strong. It also features titanium screws and I think ceramic ball bearing on the lock mechanism where it closes. So it's a great bit of kit, but there isn't any micro adjustment on there. You can only do it by the links. Now, I don't normally mind that. I've said before on many watches, I don't mind it. But that's when you're only paying a few £100 or, you know, up to £500 even. But when you're paying, you know, quite a lot of money, I would like to see something a little bit more on there. But trust me, it is an absolute work of art. You know, it is a quality piece of kit. So that, you know, it is one of those things at the end of the day. Let me put this on my wrist so you got an idea how it looks. Zoom out, quick wrist check. I've got my Obus Morgan C-Star 60 on there, an old watch I've had for quite a bit of time now. I quite like it. And Bob has got the D-Sub on there, the D-Sub 10. Very cool, very distinctive watch from the Damasko range. Now, my wrist size is 7¼ inches. That equates to roughly, I believe it's 18.5 centimeters, give or take. And let me just put a strap on here. He says not the easiest one to do, and there you go, that's it on there. Now, I say it's lovely. It is one of my more preferred watches from Damasko. I think it's superb. I should also mention, actually, they do have the uprated seals in these watches, Vitron seals. It also has low pressure rating. This is obviously all to do with part of the Euro test, the Airbus defense and space program, so they need to have all that things, because if you suddenly, you know, lose pressure in the cabin, last thing you want is a, you know, I say last thing, obviously you might have bigger problems than that, but at least the crystal won't pop off your glass either. So lots of silly things like that. But even if you were to eject out of the canopy as well, you wouldn't want that happening, if depending on where you're landing. So overall, it's a cracking watch. I think it is an absolute solid watch and well worth spending your hard-earned money on. But anyway, I'll leave you to it, guys, with that. But most importantly, you guys stay safe out there. All the best. Bye.